welcome to First Edition, the online ministry of First Community Church. My name is Glenn Miles. I'm the senior minister here in this amazing congregation, and we are thrilled that you've joined us on this day for worship. And we want you to know, no matter who you are, what you believe or don't believe, you are welcomed and accepted in this place. Right now, there's a QR code on the screen. Take a moment, would you please? Capture that code, click on the link that pops up there on your phone, and you can register your attendance, you can submit a prayer concern, and you can even give for the offering if you choose to give in that way. Today's sermon is inspired by the movie Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. It's a classic film, a great one of my top 10 all-time favorites, and it's a story of love and loss, sacrifice and loyalty. And then we're also going to listen to a word from John, who wrote to an early church, love not so much in what you say, but in what you do. Let your actions speak louder than your words. These are powerful images for us. I can't wait to share this sermon with you. Beloved, let us love, not in word or speech, but in deed and truth. Little children, John says. It's not a term of derision, rather a term of endearment. He's not putting down his congregation, he's lifting them up. As a loving, kind, and gracious parent, he wants them to know, his little children, He wants them to know that their actions matter more than their words, and that God will be there to bless them in their actions. Sees beyond their hearts, sees beyond their deeds to their words, and calls them to love. And we don't know if John, who wrote this letter, this early church letter, is the same John who wrote the Gospel of John. We don't know if he's the same John who was a disciple of Christ. He might have been. But what we do know is that he cares deeply for his church. He loves his congregation. Little children, let us love not in word or speech, but in deed and truth. That is, let our actions tell the world who we are. According to legend, St. Francis of Assisi once said, "Preach the gospel at all times. When necessary, use words." Have you heard that before? It's a well-known saying of St. Francis, although it's only according to legend. We can't prove that he ever really said it. It sounds like something St. Francis might say. And whether he did or not, there's still truth in the saying. Preach the gospel at all times. When necessary, use words. These teachings are clear. The way we live our lives matter more than what we say to people. Oh, our words matter too. We can hurt with our words. But in the end of all ends, it's those deeds of love that matter the most. Now, in the film that's inspiring today's sermon, Casablanca, featuring Humphrey Bogart as Rick, an expatriate American who owns and operates Rick's Cafe Americain in Casablanca. He doesn't say anything in the movie profound about love. Even at the end, when there's this really romantic scene, he doesn't get too profound about it, at least not in the way that John or St. Francis does. And in fact, early on, he comes across as a very cynical, hard-shelled, hard-edged, I don't care about anyone else but myself. He even says directly, he says it clearly as he possibly can, I stick my neck out for nobody. Later, early in the film, he's being interviewed by Major Strasse, who is the commander of the Nazi army that's there in Casablanca. It's neutral territory, but still the Nazis are there and they have a presence. And this Commander Strasse wants to find out, what's your nationality? He asks him directly, what nationality are you, Rick? And Rick says, I'm just a drunkard. And the police officer, who's Louis, who's a corrupt officer, if there ever was one, says, see, he's just a citizen of the world. Yeah, he sticks his neck out for nobody. He's just a drunk. He really underlines this character's seeming approach to life as a cynic when he's interviewed by a young Bulgarian woman. She wants Rick's help. She and her husband have escaped the tyranny that's going on in Bulgaria. They want to get to the United States of America where they can live in freedom and hope. She's willing to do anything. It's a heart-wrenching scene. Rick, though, he just keeps that, the Humphrey Bogart character, he just keeps that rough exterior there. He doesn't care about her or her husband or Bulgaria or anything else. She even implies that she's willing to do anything. It's a difficult moment in the movie, really. Rick does have integrity. He's not going to take advantage of her, but he's not going to help her either. She finally desperately says, do you have any advice for me? Yeah, I have advice. Go back to Bulgaria. He doesn't stick his neck out for anybody. He's a drunk. He doesn't care. Go back to Bulgaria. I don't care about your problems. We begin to see this exterior fall apart a little bit and get a glimpse of who Rick really is. When he goes, after having that conversation with the woman from Bulgaria, he goes to the gambling room in the back where it's illegal to be gambling in Casablanca, but everyone knows you can go to Rick's Cafe Americain and you can gamble. He goes back there to the roulette table. Her husband is playing roulette. Rick looks at the dealer, gives him a little wink and a nod and a little nudge, and points out the husband. Husband puts a pile of chips on 22, and he wins. Then he gets somebody that says, put it all on 22 again. He does it all again, and he wins again. He's walking out with a small fortune, more than enough to get to freedom in the USA. Now we're starting to see Rick's got this rough, tough exterior. I don't stick my neck out for anybody, for nobody. And yet here he is, helping a young couple with no fanfare, no big deal. He's just going to do it quietly and simply, out of love, to help them. We begin to get a little bit more knowledge about Rick when his flame, his love from a year before, Ilsa, Ingrid Bergman, walks in with Laszlo, the leader in an underground movement fighting against the Nazis. They walk into Rick's cafe. And what does Rick say? Do you remember the line? Does anybody remember? Of all the gin joints in all the world, she had to walk into his. And we can tell instantly there was something between Rick and Ilsa. Something had happened. And eventually there's a flashback to their love affair in Paris. A year before, they fell madly, deeply, outrageously almost in love. And we see in those flashbacks a different side of Rick. He can be emotional, he can be loving, he can be kind and gracious. There's no hard-shelled exterior there. He's in Paris, he's in love. It's a beautiful setting. We only find out later that she was married at that time to Laszlo, the leader of the underground. But he was in a German concentration camp, and the report that's come to her is that he's died. And now she's moved on to a new relationship with a new man. But then the report comes that he's alive, and she leaves him at the train station where he thought they were going to run away together. And so Rick is carrying this anger and this animosity toward her. It's going to develop later in the film. We'll see more of that. But by the same time, he still feels deeply in love with her, and he has great respect for Laszlo and the cause that he's fighting for. And you see how that exterior is beginning to fade away? What we're seeing is that his words aren't nearly as important as his actions. He actually cared for the Bulgarian couple. He loved Ilsa deeply in Paris. He respects Laszlo and the work that he's trying to do to fight against the Nazis. He wants to do anything he can, it's going to come out eventually, to help Laszlo in his fight against those representatives of evil. In fact, there's a moment in his office when he and Laszlo are having, Rick's office, when he and Laszlo are having a conversation. It's a little bit tense, but while they're talking, they hear some music coming from back out in the restaurant. They go out onto the stairway above the restaurant overlooking it, and they can see that the Nazis have started singing. Let's watch that scene.
Played.
I get goosebumps every time. I know I'm cheesy and corny, but it just gives me goosebumps. I want to shout out, Vive la France! Vive la France! Do you see the beauty of that scene, the power of it? In Rick's place, no one does anything without getting Rick's permission. Oh, the Nazis do, but no one else does. And when Laszlo comes out and says, play La Marseillaise, play it, what's the band leader do? He looks up at the stairs to get the okay from Rick. And Rick's courage and his love emerge in that moment. Just a nod. Play it. It puts him in danger just as much as Laszlo now, because he's demonstrating to the Nazis that he cares about this cause. And it also shows something else. The amazing way music can unite us, bring us together. A song that we stand and sing together can give us hope for whatever it is we're facing. I wonder, did you notice the anthem this morning? The second one was from the book of Psalms. Sometimes the book of Psalms is called the songbook of the church, because oftentimes in antiquity, the Psalms were put to music. They were sung in the temple. Some believe they might have even been sung in people's homes. We do the same thing. We take the Psalms and we oftentimes put them to music. I was a youth minister for 13 years. There was a psalm that our kids loved to sing. Psalm 51. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and create a new spirit within me. We'd sing that in youth group. Create in me a clean heart, O God. We'd sing it through twice. Every time we sang it, we would sing it maybe once a month. Every time, all of us would get tears in our eyes. We'd be united in our desire and our need for forgiveness, and sometimes even overcome with joy at the beauty of that psalm. Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation. Were you in church the Sunday after 9/11? If you were around back then, did you go to worship? The church I served in Atlanta usually saw about 300 on an average Sunday morning. On that Sunday morning, the one immediately after the attacks on our country by the terrorists, it was jam-packed. There were at least 600 people in the room that we counted. We had to put up extra chairs everywhere. The whole sanctuary was lined with people, standing room only. The choir loft had about 30 voices in the choir, but then there was another 20 that jammed in there from the congregation for an extra seat. You know what we opened with? What hymn we sang at the beginning? It's based on Psalm 18. A mighty fortress is our God. We were halfway through the first verse. I could barely sing. The tears were streaming down my face, and I wasn't alone. As I looked out at that crowd, I saw 600 pairs of eyes, all of them with tears. There's something amazing, isn't there, when we can stand together, united in song, proclaiming that we will stand together in the name of love, in the name of God's grace, in the name of God's righteousness, and not let anyone get in our way, even if they're filled with terror, even if they're Nazis or worse. That's what music can do, can inspire us. I just love that scene in the movie, and the way that Rick allows that inspirational moment to happen, and he's played his hand. He's showing now, okay, you Nazis, I'm not giving in to your power. I'm not giving in to your evil. You won't stand against this movement. Now let's be clear. Rick is not St. Francis. He's not John, the disciple of Christ, or John, the author of this letter. He's none of that at all. But who he is somebody who deeply loves. He smokes too much. Have you noticed in the 40s how much people smoked? It's like everyone. I think 8-year-olds are smoking cigarettes in the 40s. He drinks too much. I think they started the day with a drink and kept drinking all day long on into the night. Despite all that, what matters the most is that Rick acts out of love for Ilsa, for Laszlo, for all the refugees that are in that room. Did you know that most of the actors, the extras in that scene in Rick's Café Américain, when they're singing La Marseillaise, the national anthem of France, most of them are refugees from Germany, from France, from around all over Europe who've made their way to the United States. It was filmed in Burbank, California. And when they're singing La Marseillaise, those are real tears falling down their eyes, falling down their faces, because they're moved by the power of the music. You see, that's what we want to know about Rick. He has that ability to move the crowd, to stand up against evil. He's not perfect, but boy, we know what he cares for, what matters most. Glennon Doyle wrote Love Warrior. In her book, she notes that what matters most is never lost. Brian McLaren, great preacher, terrific theologian, wrote in one of his books once, why is it we read the Bible and sometimes see it only as a confusing and strange list of difficult to understand theological tenets, when we ought to read the Bible as a love story? Oh, sure, there's lots of confusing things, but let's read it as a love story from beginning to end of God's love for the world. God's desire for God's love to be reflected in you on out then to the world. Rob Bell, another great preacher and theologian, says, why would we ever come to the conclusion that the Bible is a story of damnation and judgment, and you better watch out, you better not cry, for Jesus is coming to get you, I'm telling you right now. No, no, no. What it is a story of God's desire to find God's lost children. No matter how lost you are, what God wants to do is find you and bring you back to the arms of love. That's the message from John. That's the message from St. Francis. I think it's the message of Casablanca, that love matters more than everything else. And the way we act upon it is ultimately what matters. Sometimes, though, I've noticed this in my life. I suspect in some of yours, maybe most of yours, maybe all of yours, we don't always take this kind of teaching seriously. When I was in college, I coached Little League baseball. It was a great job. I spent 3 summers coaching Little League baseball, and we were paid for it. There was a government grant given to the Park and Rec Center in Springfield, Oregon, where Julie and I lived right after we got married, still in college. And what they did was they took college athletes, paid them a little bit more than minimum wage, which you thought was great, to coach the kids. You started with T-ballers, and you had older kids, and you would coach them all the way through every day, 3 days a week. It was really super fun. And the idea was that paying college kids to coach takes some of the hyper-intensity of some parents, not every parent, but some parents who are coaches who think that that winning that 10-year-old baseball game is the most important thing in the world. It was really fun. Well, it was really fun coaching the older kids, the 12-year-olds, because you can start to give signs. They start to understand the game a little better. This is my sign for steal. This is my sign for take the pitch. This is my sign for the bunt. Try to bunt the baseball. One of the coaches told a great story. He was given signs, of course, and he'd given the kids the sign, similar to mine, to bunt. And see, when you're a baseball player and you get a sign from your coach, you have a way. Every coach has a different sign. My sign was, when you get the sign, you tell the coach you understood what he's telling you, and you tap your hat, you tap your helmet. That's you're saying to the coach, yeah, I get it. Well, this one coach was telling us there are a couple guys on base, and he wanted the batter at the plate to bunt the ball. Just bunt it short so we could move the runners up. He gave him all the signs, went through everything, gave the indicator, and then bunt. The kid tapped his helmet. He got it. And then the pitch came, and he took a big swing and a miss. And the coach was kind of like, did you see the sign? Come on. So he gave him the signs, went through all the signs again, ended with bunt. Kid taps his head, big swing. He misses again. Well, the coach is exasperated. He goes ahead and gives him the swing away sign. He swings again, strike 3. Misses, swings and misses, strike 3. In the dugout, the coach comes up to the kid and said, did you get the sign? He said, yeah, I did. Well, then why did you swing away? I didn't think you meant it. Yeah, John meant it. It's a cute story. It's a simple verse to understand. And John means it. You see, what John is trying to do is shape the persona of his congregation. He wants them to be more concerned about how they live their faith than what they say about it. He wants them to not get too caught up in deep theological ideas. It's not a bad thing. I love to read heavy theology, but he wants them to practice that loving theology in their lives. He's trying to shape their personas. I remember once, one more sports illustration. Go with me for this for just a moment. When I was in high school, our basketball coach was going around the room the day before, at the end of our last practice before our first game. And he's going to each kid, every one of us, the second string and then the first team. He's telling us who you are. This is what you're good at. This is what you do. Do this, do that. He gets to Gerald. Gerald was our point guard. He said, Gerald, you're the point guard. You're the quarterback on the court. You're my coach on the court. You be the leader. Be the leader that we need. He goes to Timmy. He says to Timmy, he was one of our inside guys, our big guys. You are a great leaper, a tremendous athlete. Don't be afraid of your gifts. Use them. He gets to me. I'm the last one that he's talking to. He says, Miles, you'll run through a wall for me, won't you? I went, I guess. He said, of course you will. And of course I took on that persona too. Notice something though. Gerald was a strong leader on the court. Tim was a great athlete, and I'm a guy who runs through things. That's the story of my entire athletic career right there. What's amazing is we took on those personas. That's who we became. Oh, we did win that game, by the way. That's who we became because the coach was inspiring and put us. That's what John is saying to us today. Don't practice your love so much in word or speech, but in deed, in truth. In other words, in actions. Let's go to the end of the movie and the end of the sermon. You know, I hope you've seen it. How many of you have seen Casablanca? Not as many as I'd hope, but many of you. Good. I'm glad you have. At the very end, Ilsa, who's still madly in love with Rick, Ingrid Bergman, and Humphrey Bogart. By the way, did you know that Ingrid Bergman is 5'9" and Humphrey Bogart is 5'8"? He had to wear lifts. He had to wear high-heeled shoes so that he would look taller than her in the film. Well, here at the end, the lifted up taller Humphrey Bogart is talking to Ilsa. She thinks that he's schemed to get her and Rick away. Send Laszlo off, but get the two of them away. He has schemed, but it's something completely different. What he's scheming is for her and Laszlo to get on this plane late at night, deep fog, to make their way to Lisbon. What he says to her is, I know you want to go with me now, but you'll regret it. If not tomorrow, if not next week, someday soon, you'll regret staying with me because you know that his cause matters. You know that he deeply loves you and he needs you at his side to work with him and fight for this same cause. You know that's true. Me, you're lost with me. You don't need to be with me. Who knows what I'm going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. You need to get on that plane and go. And then he gives the final line to her. Do you remember what he says? It's what he said to her in Paris. Here's looking at you, kid. In that line, delivered in Humphrey Bogart's perfect gravelly voice, he's saying a whole host of things. Oh, it's not a big romantic statement like Rose to Jack when they're floating on the door from the Titanic in the middle of the Atlantic and she says, I'll never let you go. I love that movie, it's okay. But what does he say? Here's looking at you, kid. I'll always have you in my heart. You'll always have my love. We'll always have Paris. There are some things that love pushes us to do that are beyond our own personal desires and needs. Go with love. It's a way of saying to us the same thing. Hey, kid, what does God want from you? Nothing much, just your love. How does God want you to live in this world? Nothing hard. Just let your deeds and your actions reflect that love. I don't know about you, but I took one of my Bibles, I flipped to the back, and I wrote on the back page, God says to you, Glenn, here's looking at you, kid. Maybe you'd do that in your own Bible. If you got an electronic one, figure out a way to type that in. Here's looking at you, kid. It's God's way of saying, this is who you are. You are a child of mine. You are shaped and made and created in my image. I have given you my love. Now go and let that love appear in everything you do. In the name of Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you for joining us for worship today. I trust that you were inspired by the music and blessed by the message. We're going to put that QR code back up for your convenience. If you haven't yet, please, would you click on the link that appears on your phone, register your attendance, submit a prayer concern. We'd love to be in prayer with you. And finally, would you consider making a gift to First Community Church? As you can imagine, it takes quite a bit of resources to put together these broadcasts, to share them with you and others, not just in Columbus, but around the world. Take a moment to think about that, and we would love to hear from you. In the meantime, have a blessed and beautiful week.